everybody. My name is Brooke, and I am the CEO of Rock the Stage Fitness, and I am so pleasured to have Miss Courtney on the line with me. She is absolutely a beautiful person, and you'll get a chance to hear more about her as we're talking today on this podcast. This podcast is designed for girls who are interested in pageantry, modeling, and just getting into the best shape of your life. I've been in the industry for such a long time, but what I love is that everything that I teach is holistic. It really does work and it doesn't damage your body. What we want is sustainability. Just about every single client that I work with, they can walk away and know that they've gotten what they've needed, including Courtney. Courtney Smith, today's guest, is a bright, poised, and powerful young woman who represents the next generation of leaders in pageantry and purpose. She's already making waves in the industry, from being crowned Miss Georgia Teen USA and then, of course, stepping on the Teen USA stage. And she also has quite a few other titles, to be honest with you. She embodies grace, confidence, and ambition. And she does it all with warmth and incredible humility. I've also had the joy of working with her during her fitness prep and watching her grow in discipline and strength. I am thrilled to welcome the radiant and incredibly talented Courtney to the show today. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. You know, Courtney, one thing that I absolutely adore about you is that you are young and you are super fun, but you know how to turn it on, right?
Thank
When the
you.
time is right
Yes.
to be able to get the job done. So let's just start off before we talk about pageant stuff,
Yes.
just about you. So home for Christmas break. Let's talk about your second year now, then of
Yes.
college. How has it been for you?
It's been so amazing. College really has changed my life for the better. I actually moved across the country from Georgia to Arizona, which is completely, totally different. But I just really have pushed myself to get outside of my comfort zone and to take advantage of the opportunities that Arizona State has to offer. I've been on two different shows at ASU's campus, one called the Cut Network, where last year I was the sports anchor. This year I'm heading the entertainment branch. So that's been super fun, as well as working with the National Association for Black Journalists at ASU. So I try and stay very busy and very active in my community at my college.
Good God. It is just who you are. From the moment that we met, which was, I think, a few years ago,
Yes.
as you're preparing for Georgia and then, of course, Teen USA, just watching your journey unfold. Like that intro was not just fluff. It really is who you are. Like you represent the next generation. And I'm sure that there's some people who are watching today who are maybe a little bit younger or
Yes.
just around your age who are just saying there has to be more to life than what I'm experiencing.
Yes.
Right? How can I actually level up in life and become the best version of myself? And I think that you have done that so well. And we have to give a shout out to your mom.
Yes, my mom, she definitely has always instilled in me to take advantage of the opportunities and to surround myself with people who push me to be better. And so I'm so glad that you joined my team 4 or 5 years ago to really help me become the best version of myself, because I would not be here without you, Ms. Brown.
Thank you so much. And I don't mean to leave out your father, but I just know that me,
Yes.
you, and your mom for sure and have walked behind the scenes with you. So talk to me though about outside of the clubs and activities that you're involved in, what do you do for fun?
So I actually have a few things I love to do for fun. So I love to play golf. Growing up, that's actually a sport that I used to play, and I could have gone D2 in golf, but ultimately I decided to take the academic route instead of the athletic route. So I love to just go to Top Golf or even play a round of golf with my friends. I found 2 or 3 other girls at my college who love to play golf, so we go play a round every month, and it's super fun. I also love to go to heated Pilates classes. That's been a new thing that I've really started to enjoy doing. And I also love going on hikes. There's so many beautiful mountains and terrain in Arizona, and it's always great weather. So I love to go on hikes as well.
I'm coming to Arizona.
You have to. We could go on a hike.
So my family and I went to see Grand Canyon and then we went to Sedona and we drove through the mountains. I mean, it is stunning.
Yes.
It is stunning. Yeah. So as you all can see, Courtney has just this magnetic personality and presence. Have you always been this way since you were a little girl, or did you just form that over time?
Well, honestly, I've always been a people person. My mom said I've never met a stranger. I could talk anybody's ear off. And that's what got me into the entertainment industry when I was a kid. I started actually when I was 7 years old acting. And that's how I ended up getting into pageantry. But before that, I was just an actress. I had an agency and I would, book TV shows and movies as a kid. And one day I actually got my growth spurt and my agent called my mom and she was like, she's 12 years old and she's 5'6". It's hard to book her. And my mom was like, oh, well, thanks for letting us know. And that's actually how we moved into the pageant industry because of my height and because I had like the personality for the stage. And ever since I've gotten to my first pageant, I caught the pageant bug and I haven't been able to stop.
I didn't know that about you.
Yes,
And I'm, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, how do you feel that the experience that you had then as a child translated over into pageantry?
well, I think as a childhood actor, you kind of have to know how to market yourself essentially. And I think that that's something that really kind of directly translates into pageantry. You need to know how to, first off, you need to know who you are as a brand. I think that's always very important. Like, you need to know who you are as a person. And I think that as a childhood actor, especially this is before self tapes and everything like that, self tapes just kind of started becoming a more popular thing over the past few years. And that was back when Atlanta was called the Hollywood of the South. So I was in person at auditions all the time. And I really had to know how to differentiate myself from the other candidates at the jobs. And I think 7-year-old Courtney knew like she was full of life, full of energy, and knew what she brought to the table. And I think that that has really helped me with pageants in general.
Absolutely. You were born for this. And so, kind of coming off course a little bit, but Courtney, do you feel like it's your kind of destiny to be on a stage or on a major platform, or what do you think in terms of just life?
Honestly, I've always just loved to entertain. Growing up, that's what I used to do. I used to put on shows for my mom. And kind of the story about why I got into acting was really funny. And honestly, I think it's a God wink. But one day we were just driving down the street, and I've always said to my mom, I want to be on Disney, I want to act. But we grew up in the South. We didn't really know much about that. And the entertainment industry is definitely something scary for a lot of parents to put their children into.
Really?
But we were just driving down the interstate one day and we heard on V103, the local Atlanta radio, that they were having open casting for Barbershop The Next Cut. And so I was like, mom, I got to do it. I got to do it. At this point, I had already been taking a few acting classes, but never auditioned for anything major. And so we showed up to the open casting. We had my headshot, which was just a picture that my photographer took of at our family portraits the year before. And we put it on the stack and we just left and we just thought kind of nothing of it. And then a few weeks later, I got a call that I booked a role in Barbershop The Next Cut. And so I was just kind of like, this is a God wink. This is something that I knew that, God had a greater purpose for me because, just as a 7-year-old, I knew that this was something that I wanted to do. And I just kind of trusted the path that God had for me. Like, if we hadn't have been listening to V103 that day, we would have never heard about that opportunity. And so I've always wanted to be in the entertainment industry. Right now, I'm majoring in broadcast journalism. So I just know one day, I hope to be on TV. I hope to make people smile and I hope to show people and show the world my personality in a better way.
And I love that you called it God wink. Oh my gosh. If you're watching, please write that down because there are winks,
Yes,
literally. And it's not hard to figure out. You just got to pay attention.
exactly. You have to listen to the signs.
You
Yes, ma'am.
do. And two, just having community around you. So we talked earlier just about how your mom and your dad, I'm sure, have played a pivotal role in that for you and helping to also discern or figure
Yes,
out, what that looks like. But I mean, it's just so beautiful. We're not alone, right? There's so many beautiful things for us to be able to explore and live and, just to be able to enjoy. And it will be exactly who we are to be.
exactly.
Okay, so your presence online again is so balanced. I love that I see a young college student having fun, enjoying life, but still being able to step it up when she needs to. You talked about all the organizations that you're a part of or that you are actually officed in. So, how do you balance authenticity in the world of social media?
Well, I've always wanted my social media accounts to be kind of a window into my life. I think I'm not just, pageant Courtney and full hair and makeup 24/7, but I'm also an Arizona State student. I'm also a big sister. I'm also, a big cousin. I'm also, an executive on multiple boards on my college campus. And I want people to be able to see that because I don't think we're just one-dimensional people. We have so much that we bring to the table, and I think social media is a great place to showcase that. And so I try to do that with my social media. There's been so many times where people came up to me and they were like, Courtney, like, thank you so much for showing this part of you because I had no idea I could do that. And I think it's important that we showcase all the things that make us different and unique and special because that can inspire somebody else. So I'm just really blessed that I can, use my social media to kind of show all the things that you can accomplish as a 19-year-old and to show that, your age doesn't define you at all.
Oh my gosh. And I kind of want to sit here just for a moment because I think 19-year-olds are trying to figure it out. Some are just like you. Others are just like, well, I might not have as great of a story to tell. I don't have all the fun things that Courtney might be having, going on in my life, but there's room to explore.
Yes.
Um, Again, it's authentic, right? So it journals your story, which is
Yes.
still unfolding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing for any 19-year-olds or anybody younger or older who feel like they don't have their situation figured out. I do want to say this. I do not have my situation figured out at all. I am just trying to take it day by day as well. I'm trying to trust God's plan for me. I'm trying to trust God's timing. And just because it may appear that I have everything figured out, I promise you I do not. And it's always taking it day by day. I think that as people, it's very easy to get into that comparison route, especially, if you're in the entertainment or pageantry industry or just in general with the social media presence that we have now. It's very hard to be in my generation. This is unprecedented times with social media, and it's super easy to compare yourself to other people. And sometimes I even fall into that, bracket of doing that. But I do want to say, like, you need to trust in yourself. You need to trust in God's plan for you. And you need to know that, it's okay. Like, it's okay. I'm still figuring things out. It's exciting. Like, I don't know what the tomorrow is gonna bring, but I know it's gonna be great because I know the Lord has me. And so that's what I try and trust every day.
It's an adventure.
Exactly.
It's an adventure day by day, just watching things unfold, literally. If you could name one quality as you're watching your life unfold that you're most proud of, and when it comes to just Courtney, what do you think you would name?
Well, that's a great question, actually. I think for me, it probably would be flexibility. But the only reason I'm so flexible is because of the community of people who have surrounded themselves around me. So I can trust that it'll be okay if I'm flexible. There has been a lot of things that have happened in my life that have kind of pushed me to be flexible and to kind of trust God's plan. When I was 16, this was actually a few months after I gave up my Miss Georgia Teen USA title. I actually lost my best friend over spring break, my junior year of high school. And, that was very hard, especially, I'm taking my ACTs, and I'm not seeing my best friend in my class with me every single day. And it was very challenging and it was very hard to overcome that. But I think that for me, what I learned in that fiery furnace, I was like, everything is going to go the way we expect it to. Not everything is going to go the way we planned it to, and not everything is going to go the way we hope it goes. But that's okay because, at the end of the day, there's a plan that's bigger than I could imagine, and it's going to be better than I can imagine. And there are people who are going to support me regardless and who are going to love me regardless. And even if this certain thing doesn't work out the way I thought it will, I have my family, I have my friends, and I have my support system who are going to pick me up and who are going to help me get back on my feet and who are going to help me keep going. And so I think ultimately through that, I've learned flexibility, I've learned trust, and I've learned that, everything will be okay.
Oh, that's huge. You said a mouthful, Courtney.
Yes.
Yes, because everything may not be according to our plans. And I think sometimes, especially girls in pageantry, because I call this community of girls overachievers.
Yes.
Everything is planned out so meticulously. We have our to-do list. We have and quite frankly, there is a level of perfectionism that comes with girls in this industry, as well as athletes, models. I literally just posted a stat about this and how the pressure that a lot of girls put on themselves kind of is just a bit too much. And
Yes.
so knowing, right, that we may not know, like your best friend passing away, I'm so sorry, right, to hear that. but you have to be flexible in life in order to just keep moving through, because if not, you'll get stuck, right? When moments like that happen and
Mhm.
you're just like, well, I didn't expect it. Well, it doesn't mean that you stop dreaming, but
Exactly.
you dream with flexibility, knowing and trusting that there is, again, something greater on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah, I so appreciate that. So let's move into pageant talk.
Yes.
So the highlight of your pageant career would be what so far?
I think there's been a ton of highlights, but I do think being Miss Georgia Teen USA and representing my state at the Miss Teen USA pageant was absolutely incredible. I love my home state of Georgia. I love my neighborhood of Atlanta, Georgia. And so to be able to represent my city at the state pageant and then to win the state pageant and to be able to showcase what Atlanta brings to the table on a national scale, I was so excited and proud to represent my city and my state. I think that, you can't beat that. That was super exciting and super fun, especially being a 15-year-old. I was the youngest person in history to do it. So that was just absolutely incredible.
15.
Yes.
So a lot of girls will, I mean, it's more concentrated in terms of time, right? So now that the Miss USA system has kind of opened up for the Miss division, girls can compete for a little bit longer, but there will be people who will never have stepped into that moment that you had on the Teen USA stage. And even as you grow older, I think you'll fully realize just the beauty of that.
Yes.
But how did you feel on the stage? Just talk to the rest of us who didn't have that experience. Like, was it surreal? Was it just, were you nervous? What did it feel like in your human self?
Well, I think, okay, so I look back at this moment a lot, but I remember standing at Reno Tahoe. This was right before we went on stage. We were in our Giovanni cocktail dresses, and I was just looking at the stage, and I just had our faces, flashing on the back of the stage. And we were in the dark backstage. It was cold, and I looked at my roommate, and she just kind of looked at me, and she was like, "Courtney, like we're at Miss Teen USA. Like Courtney, you're at Miss Teen USA." And I think in that moment, like I really had to take a step back and a breather because I'm like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, I am really about to step foot on this stage for prelims and represent my home state of Georgia. And there's no guarantees that I'll make top 15. There's no guarantees anything. So I'm just going to leave it all on the stage. And I'm just going to do what I was here to do. And I'm going to represent my state to the absolute best of my abilities. And, however this turns out, whatever happens, I'm okay with it because I am just blessed to be in this opportunity. And so I think at the time I had just turned 16 and I don't think I really understood like how young I was. As a 19-year-old, I feel like I'm still very young, but I don't think I really understood like how young 16 was and how beautiful that opportunity was. But I just remember the gravity of it and remember feeling like, I'm going to make the most of this opportunity regardless of what happens, and I'm going to have this, this be my opportunity. It doesn't matter about the crown, it doesn't matter about what anybody else says about my dress or anything else like that. Like this is my moment, and I'm going to live in it, and I'm going to be in the moment and not worry about anything else.
Yeah, being fully present.
Yes.
And it showed. You thoroughly enjoyed yourself. And I think it's just pivotal because when you look back at this, Courtney, like, if you're not smiling, remembering the memory, right? Was it worth it, right? It just makes sense to enjoy all that hard work, all the effort behind the scenes, right? All the moments of discipline and sacrifice where others chose differently. You were you were in the gym, you were in practice, you were in training mode. Like, that is to be honored, right? And to be enjoyed.
No,
Yeah.
and I remember because my mom, I have the greatest parents ever. They made my dream come true. In the 2021 Miss Teen USA, the pageant I went to the year before, my year at Miss Teen USA. I got to watch Brianna Miles get crowned, and I got to support a lot of my friends at the pageant. But I think sitting in the audience, it really sunk into me like this is a dream. Like I really want to be able to represent my state at Miss Teen USA. And so for it literally to be a year later, for me to be standing backstage instead of like in the audience, I was like, this is nothing but God. Like this is really nothing but God. And I am so blessed. And I remember actually being on the phone and, we kind of started our practicing for that year in November during that pageant at the same time. in 2021. And I remember, like, this is a full circle experience. It's a full circle moment. And this is where all my hard work, pays off. And even if that doesn't mean paying it off with the crown, this is a moment that I'll forever get to remember and to be excited about and to one day tell my kids about. And I just, I can't wait to live in the moment.
That is so beautiful. So Brianna was Miss Teen USA, those of you who may or may not know that. And I had an opportunity to work with her as well in her prep, especially for the Miss Florida Teen USA stage, which is what state she represented. But just to see all of you there and to just have that moment, it does something in terms of a coach's heart. You really feel like you're winning. And I remember when you won Georgia, I was actually in the Bahamas and we FaceTimed. I was on a boat and then got a call, and I was just as excited as if it were me or my child. So anyway, the community, right? The support system. That's what you keep referring
Yeah.
to. It matters because when you win, we all feel like we win, and it's not just for bragging rights. It is because we really sincerely believe the best in you. So yeah.
Yes, and that's why it's important to surround yourself with people who really do care about your general best interest. In our sessions, we don't just talk about how to make myself look the best on stage, which, I mean, yes, we do want me to look the best on stage, but it's, like you said, holistic.
Yes.
Not only are we looking at, what the foods I'm eating, what I'm doing with my workouts regimen, and how much water I'm drinking. We're looking at that not only for the pageant, but we're looking at it for my overall health. And I've always appreciated that about you.
Thank you, Courtney, because I want to segue into that conversation now because there's so many shortcuts.
Yes.
And I know you talked about it already. There's certain mind frames or, you can have this competition in your inner self where you're competing with the girl next door or the girl on social media and you're saying, well, I just want to look like her. So you kind of do whatever you have to do to get there, which can be super unhealthy,
Hmm.
right? And so I like the holistic aspect, and I will only coach from that aspect because of my personal integrity. But I just want to know, in terms of your fitness prep, what were you struggling with initially, even before meeting me, in terms of consistency, results, discipline, whatever?
So before I met Miss Brooke, so there was really no fitness anything for me. I had just turned 15 years old. I'm still loving the ice cream and the snacks, and I never had a workout regimen. And so I think that was kind of the biggest hurdle we had to jump. When I started working with you, was kind of figuring out what works for Courtney. Courtney's 15 years old. Courtney is still seeing all her friends in the cafeteria eat whatever they want to eat and do whatever they want to do. And how can we make this work for me? And so I think that that was something that we had to work together on to figure out what are things that we could substitute. How can we make this fun for you? It took a little minute, as it does, to find what works for you, but we did, and we figured out that I can have the dairy-free ice cream, when I need a snack or a treat or whatever. We found the snacks that I love that work for me, and I think ultimately that's really what helped me succeed in this. And you helped me with that. You helped me figure out all of that because I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah. And most girls don't when it comes to nutrition. It's at the top of everyone's list. It's so interesting because we just don't know what to eat in a world that is super confusing, or this industry rather, where it's just confusing. And of course, you want to get the results. So you're like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. But in
Yeah.
your 15-year-old self, it is very hard, right? To be
Yes.
around other high schoolers who, again, they're just different goals.
Yes.
And so to be as kind of specific and intentional about
Yes.
a Team USA stage or that goal requires great intentionality.
Exactly.
I want to know now then what shifted for you. So yes, you ended up swapping out foods. You learned a lot about nutrition. I've enjoyed watching your journey, even talking to your mom and her saying, okay, Brooke, we got this, and this, just over the years. And then we're able to kind of build from that foundation. But I'm just curious, do you feel like mindset shifted the most first, or did you see results first?
I think for me, it was mindset. I talked a little bit about how I went to go watch Miss Teen USA 2021. And I think in that moment, I realized I want to be on that stage. So I'm going to really prioritize the discipline. I'm going to put in the work on the back end to get there. And then, once I started seeing the results, I was like, hey, let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. One thing Miss Brooke will tell you about me is I know how to turn it off and I know how to turn it on. And when it's game time for me, it is game time because like we know this industry is expensive. We know it's an investment and we know you're putting a lot into yourself. And I didn't want to be the reason or feel as though I was the reason that I was holding myself back. And so sometimes you have to put your own personal pride aside. I think at 15, I thought I knew everything and I didn't. And that's the thing I think I had to realize is that, I don't know everything. My mom and my dad have put these people in my path, my pageant coaches, my trainers, everybody who are here to help me and who are here to support me and get me to the finish line. So I just need to do my part. And then, the rest will take its place if I just trust Miss Brooke, if I just trust these, I will see the results that I need, but I need to do my part. And I think that's really changed in my mindset to really help me get to the finish line.
Yeah, it's watching your process of humility
Yes.
was just incredible to see. And then you come to the realization like these people are actually for me, right?
Yes.
And they are helping me to get to the finish line. And I think if we could take anything away from this conversation, I mean, I'm taking a lot, but for sure, support system, it would probably be one of the main things, knowing that it will work out even when we don't understand
Mhm.
and trusting both sides of that. So my last question for you before you kind of give your final inspiration to the girls, what part do you feel like fitness prep will play in your life just as you're moving forward? I know sometimes girls will pick it up and then put it down, but just the mindset of lifestyle I think is super important for girls to adopt, because if it's just for a stage, then it's really not authentic, right? And at the end of the day, what we want is to be able to make sure that we're just living our best lives. So, what would you say?
Well, I think that when I started your program at 15 years old, I always tell my mom that I'm very lucky to have started these healthy habits at such a young age because they have genuinely just been instilled in my lifestyle. And now it's just something that I live by. And yes, I don't want to say to the extreme that I'm doing, if I'm doing pageant prep or whatnot, but it's just naturally like I'm going to gravitate more towards it because this is just what I know. This is what I like. And I think health is wealth overall. I can tell the difference in my mood. I can tell the difference in the way I feel. I can tell the difference in my skin when I have these overall, fitness tips and when I'm living my healthy lifestyle. And I think in college, it really helped me because I kind of already knew what to expect. Freshman 15 is real, eating just junk when you get to college is real. I think a lot of people, fall into that trap, especially, moving across the country. But I already knew, these are the foods that help me feel good. These are the foods that help me look good. And I'm going to stick with that. So I'm really blessed to have already started your program so young and to have these things instilled in me because I think it's just really helped my health overall.
Listen, wherever you end up, Courtney, I am just so grateful to have been a part of the journey, a part of your younger chapter, because it makes a huge difference, right? And I think that sometimes when we are just aware of the beauty of the people that are around us, like the gift that they are, that it really is opening and unlocking maybe some other doors of destiny that we didn't realize that we needed.
Yes.
You need everything that you've received will pay great dividends later. And I know that it's already, again, working in your benefit for your benefit now. But my goodness, you needed this because of who you are. So, what would be your final thoughts for our audience?
I would want you to know that you are amazing. You deserve every good thing that is coming your way. And don't let anybody tell you anything else. I think that especially in this like day and age that we're living in, it's very easy to fall into the trap of comparison. It's very easy to feel like you're not far enough down, the road that you want to be on. But just love every single day that you get to experience because life is a journey. And you don't have to be at the finish line immediately. Really take advantage of the place that you're in and work hard, keep doing your part and find people who support you because they will get you to where you need to be. And life is so much better, with other people who love you and want to see you succeed. And if you ever have any questions or anything like that, I am only a DM away. And I love to talk about stuff like this because I think it's important to have a community of people who surround you and want to see you succeed.
So we're going to go ahead and make sure that Courtney's information is below if you want to contact her and follow her journey. And as she already mentioned, listen, girls, there's so much more in store. So keep going, keep going. even if you reach certain goals and you're just like, I don't feel like it really fulfilled me, there's always something deeper, right, that we can discover about ourselves and about the way that God has really created us, which is beautiful. And fitness is just one part of it, but it's really about you. So I'm just so grateful for, again, Courtney, your presence. Thank you
Yeah.
all for tuning in and listening to Courtney's story. I'm going to ask that you go back and watch it again, share it with somebody, and then also like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you thought. And then also take a moment just to take a peek at others who are also a part of this launch of this podcast. Watch their stories because I think you'll be super inspired by these beautiful girls who are just humble and really on a mission just to do some great things in this culture. And we all know that we need that. So, Courtney, thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Ladies, I'll see you on our next podcast. Stay tuned.
Thank you so much. And thank you for
Yes.